Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Dave and today we'll be taking a look at the iPhone X. Now, this was by far one of the most innovative iPhones that Apple has ever made. And yeah, it introduced a whole new design language that we still use even to this date. What if I told you that almost every single iPhone that we still use today exists because of this iPhone? No home button, Face ID, OLED display, gesture navigation, it all started here. This is the iPhone X, released back in 2017. And even though it's almost a decade old, its impact on Apple and the entire smartphone industry is just massive. So today we'll talk about why the iPhone X mattered, what it did right, what it got wrong, and whether it still deserves its legendary status. And yeah, the iPhone X wasn't just another iPhone. It was Apple's 10-year anniversary iPhone, and expectations were huge. Because yeah, up until that point, every single iPhone looked similar. Just take a look at these. This is an iPhone 8. This is an iPhone 6S, I think. Doesn't matter. They look exactly the same. They have a home button, the same LCD display, and yeah, Apple was very conservative with the design. These iPhones looked very similar, very familiar, and yeah, it got really boring. So yeah, with this iPhone, Apple changed everything. They reset everything. The way we use our iPhones, the way we unlock it, the way we go home, everything was changed with this iPhone. That's why it's so legendary. And yeah, speaking about unlocking, let's have a quick chat about the notch, because this was extremely controversial. Some people hated it instantly, while others didn't really care, but the internet just went crazy. I personally didn't really mind it because I just stopped noticing it after a few minutes, but some people really hated the design of it. But yeah, the notch enabled something new, and that's Face ID. And this allowed Apple to shrink down the bezels dramatically, because there was no more need for a home button and Touch ID. And yeah, design-wise, the iPhone X felt premium in a way that older iPhones didn't really. It used stainless steel on the sides, glass on the back, and it just felt, you know, heavy, but heavy in a good way. It felt premium. Now, this phone is actually quite small for today's standards, but for 2017, it was quite a good size, to be honest. It was a bit larger than the plus-sized iPhones of the time. But yeah, going back to the design, and to me personally, the iPhone design had three peaks across the years. And three iPhones that felt like Apple was truly innovating and trying something new. And these were, of course, the iPhone X, the iPhone 4, which was a huge departure from previous plastic iPhones like the 3G and 3GS. And the third and last iPhone that really felt and feels like an iPhone to me, that's the iPhone Air. I know that this might be controversial, but to me personally, these three devices over here are peak Apple design. They feel premium in a way that no other iPhones do. But yeah, back to that notch and Face ID. This was a huge gamble by Apple because they removed Touch ID and people were so used to Touch ID. And Face ID just sounded, I don't know, a bit risky, but it worked. And more importantly, it worked consistently, even during low light situations. And yeah, you know Face ID. It was always great. And it wasn't just a gimmick, it became one of the most reliable biometric systems ever put in a smartphone. And fast forward to today, Face ID is everywhere across Apple's lineup, even on iPads. And yeah, Touch ID is almost gone now. And it all started with this, the iPhone X. So what about that beautiful display? Well, the iPhone X was the first iPhone to ever come with an OLED display. Apple called it a Super Retina display, whatever. The point is that this was a huge step up from previous LCD displays. It was 5.8 inches in diagonal, as I said, and while that feels a bit small today, it felt perfect back in 2017, even quite large. And as you know today, OLED displays enable true blacks, higher contrast, almost infinite contrast actually, and better HDR. And once you saw on one of these displays, you couldn't really go back to an LCD. And today, again, every single flagship iPhone uses OLED, and it all started here. Well, technically, even the cheapest iPhone on sale today, the 16e, uses OLED, so that's quite cool. Even though $600 is definitely not cheap nor budget, but that's an entirely different conversation. So what about performance? Well, the iPhone X was powered by the A11 Bionic paired with 3 gigs of RAM. And it was a beast at launch. It flew through iOS 11. And performance-wise, yeah, it's still usable today. I mean, if you take a look, it does open apps. Not extremely fast, but it's fine, I guess. It's usable. It's adequate for, you know, basic tasks like social media, messaging, browsing, and yeah, even the camera is quite good. Let me just take a quick test photo right here. And whoops, that's our Christmas tree. Sorry about that. yeah, I mean, it's fine, it's usable. But sadly, the 3 gigs of RAM is where the iPhone starts to show its age, because yeah, it reloads apps quite often, and it also has no 5G, and iOS support has ended a few years ago with iOS 16.7, so yeah, well, it's still fine today. Going into 2026 and 2027, apps will start dropping support for iOS 16, and then it won't be usable anymore. So if you're looking to buy this and to use it as a daily iPhone, I probably wouldn't. I would look at an iPhone XS or XR. Because yes, the iPhone XS and XR that came just 1 year later actually received support for 2 more years up until iOS 18. So that was quite disappointing for people who paid $1,000 upright for the iPhone X, but it is what it is. Early adopters. Yeah. And finally, let's address the elephant in the room, and that's the price tag, because yeah, while a $1,000 price tag seems normal today, even though it definitely shouldn't, back in 2017, paying $1,000 for a phone was completely crazy. The iPhone X quietly redefined what people were willing to pay for a smartphone, sadly, and every flagship that followed suit benefited from this shift to hard prices. And what's crazy is that the iPhone 7, which launched just 1 year before the iPhone X, started at $649, and the iPhone X jumped all the way up to $1,000, and that's year over year. And while I'm definitely not a fan of the price increase, I do appreciate that Apple kept the same starting price of $1,000 for almost 7 years now, up until the iPhone 16 Pro, which still started at $1,000. Only this year they increased the starting price to $1,100 with the iPhone 17 Pro. They also increased the base storage to 256 gigabytes, but that's not an excuse really for increasing the price. So as a conclusion, when you take a look at modern iPhones, so the gesture navigation, the way we unlock the phone, the build, the design, all of these go back to the DNA of the iPhone X. Very few iPhones in the history of Apple have changed the direction of the iPhone. Of course, the original iPhone did. I still have it here. The iPhone 4 did, and so did the iPhone X. And I do have a feeling that even the iPhone X belongs on this list, because it does look like it'll redefine the way iPhones will look for the next few years. And if I'm not mistaken, Apple plans to release the iPhone Fold next year, and they'll probably be just 2 iPhone Airs, stuck together. So yeah, this is definitely an iPhone that will pave the way for future years. But yeah, the iPhone X wasn't perfect, but it was bold, and it proved that Apple was willing to take risks and be innovative. And even today, it is remembered as one of the best iPhones ever made, one of the most innovative iPhones ever. And as always, if you've enjoyed this kind of retrospective video, let me know, and I'll cover more Apple products. So don't forget to subscribe, and as always, this was Dave on Tech signing out, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!